Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for more Overwatch. I am Ilios, joined by Wolf, and we've got a series coming up for you right now. Boston Uprising going up against the Philadelphia Fusion. Things haven't been so good for Boston overall, but Fusion, they still have a shot, and they need to start putting some wins on the board.
They certainly do. If you take a look at the standings currently, I mean, look, for the Uprising, they're down there at 16th with a single win, the reverse sweep over Paris. So their stage is done, but the Fusion are sitting at the 2-2 score line. So not only will they need a win here, it's a must win, but they basically have to 4-0. Anything other than a 4-0, you're walking away disappointed.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of not 4-0s, we had a very close series for Philadelphia Fusion, able to get a victory over Atlanta with a 3-2 record. So down to the wire, we're able to get that win. You can see 15-6 in map 5. So historically, these guys are good at closing out a series. Just not necessarily about making it clean.
Yeah, Philly, you know, playing a lot of the mirror in that series, but they have not been great at Sombra Goats, and they haven't really adapted that much into the Pharah and Widowmaker strategy. So how they fare against Boston today, hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, even if they do move up 2-0, you have to be concerned because it's Boston Uprising. They hold the league record for most reverse sweeps in a season at 4. Established that just last week versus Paris Eternal.
Yeah, they have absolute crazy clutch potential. It feels like the more stressful the situation becomes in a series, the more powerful they become. The shot calling gets out of control from Fusions. And they did come online with their Sombra in that series against the Eternal. And I have to say, you know, Boston have a real chance of upsetting here. I think this is not, you know, a shoo-in by Philly by any means. I mean, this is going to be a tough series for them, and they still really need that 4-0. So
yep. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Boston going to be looking for that victory, maybe another reverse sweep. Let's just go ahead and tack a 5th one on. We'll see if they can pull it off as we bring them out on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Boston Uprising.
If you're the Boston Uprising, you're thinking about season standings, you're thinking about the season playoffs. So this stage is over for them in terms of that opportunity. But it's a tough opponent in the Fusion, make no mistake. But in this meta, where they've, you know, embraced the chaos, the Doomfist, the Sombra, multi-DPS compositions, they might be able to crack Philadelphia, who still look a little bit shaky, as they have all year long.
Well, they've been showing us some new stuff on the side of Boston, putting Blase back onto the Doomfist a lot more. RCK, Horse on that Sombra has been fairly instrumental, but we'll see what the Philadelphia Fusion have prepared. Find out as they make their way onto the stage. Let's go ahead and give them a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Fusion.
Here they come, the Philadelphia Fusion. They need the best score possible here. Losing is not an option. It's a must-win match for them for that Stage 3 playoffs. And also, again, we're talking about the season playoffs for this team. When you zoom out, it has not been a dominant season for Fusion. Very similar to last year. Last year, they were able to make it to the grand finals there in the end. Not taking the finals, of course, but making it there with a miracle run. They could repeat that here, you know, even with a low seed, but you really feel like Boston is the team you should be crushing 4-0 right now if you're returning to form.
Well, we'll see if they can do that. Sato, of course, still going to be leading the charge for the Philadelphia Fusion in that front line on the Winston, on the Reinhardt. But taking a look at that last match for the Boston Uprising versus Paris, RCK on the Sombra, just constantly trying to get hacks onto Ben Best, set up some shatter plays for Fusion.
Yeah, they were trying to set up plays for Fusions with the Sombra. RCK was constantly harassing Ben Best, sometimes to his detriment. We saw him caught a few times there as well. It was pretty predictable what Boston was doing, and it worked well when it did, right? I mean, I know that sounds like a silly thing to say, but you know, when Ben Best was caught, they got a lot of value out of it. Sato, very aggressive main tank, not known to be very strong on the Reinhardt in this meta. So I think that's something that we might see Boston repeat again, is honing in on Sato, as many teams playing against Philly are, with the Sombra, hack him, set up some shatters, set up some picks. And I think that's something to look forward to in this series if you're a Boston fan, is RCK potentially once again being that playmaker.
Yeah, I fully expect him to get into the back. Like you said, did have detrimental results from time to time, getting pinned by Ben Best because they knew he was going to go in, tag on Volskaya. but we'll see how he plays today. Taking a look at our map set presented by Toyota. We'll be kicking things off on Nepal, then move into Horizon Lunar Colony for Assault, followed up by Numbani on Hybrid, and round things off with Havana for Escort.
Nepal, always a great map to start on.
And it also has always been good for Sombras.
Yep. One of my fondest Overwatch casting moments when I first started on this map. Learning how to cast the game. Feels so long ago now.
And still learning. I'm just kidding.
Nah.
Here we go.
Hey, we got new metas all the time. I'm always learning. If you're not learning at this point, what are you doing?
It's very true.
I'm not going to name any team names, but...
5,
all right.
4,
Philadelphia Fusion here. Look like they want to run the Wrecking Ball Pharah composition here. And this is the best map of the three to do it on because of the open space.
Yeah, for sure. High skybox for EQO on that Pharah. Carpe just gonna have to try to establish some good sight lines. Right now playing up onto that upper left side, you can kind of see the silhouette of that Widowmaker. Fusion's just gonna keep that shield raised. Carpe now dropping down, looking for a better angle. Pop up over the top, nearly had aim got, but can't quite line up the shot.
This is a pretty good line of sight. It's going to force Boston to kind of fight back around the side here.
Manages to find Kelix. Good opening pick. Pile driver through, sets up for Color Hex to get taken down. And it is just the DPS duo here from the Philadelphia Fusion filling up that kill feed. Carpe cleaning up house with the Widowmaker.
Now, the majority of the damage was actually done by EQO, and the reason why is Carpe forced them into that position off the side of the point where we saw his first-person view there in the beginning of the fight, right? That forced, you know, Fusions to turn his barrier to the other side, and the attention was there, which allowed EQO to do damage from behind. He's got a barrage ready for the barrage combo with EMP. For the Uprising, it's really about RCK on this Diva to shut that down.
Yep, lead forward there from Fusions.
He's hacked,
Pile
though.
driver in, hack comes down, barrage is out from EQO. Nearly finishes off Fusions, leap over to the side, manages to stay alive. Leads forward now, still dangerously low on that Winston. Starting to get top back up. EQO getting aggressed on, goes low, taken down. RCK manages to find the kill, but Carpe snipes aim gun, now gets Blase. The res comes back in, so the Pharah straight back into the skies, and he immediately takes down that baby Diva. Fantastic performance so far from the Philadelphia Fusion.
Even though the barrage didn't fill up the kill feed there, it gave him a positional advantage because they were able to hack the RCK on the Diva and set up a position to where Carpe could again pop off on the Widow. This keeps happening. They're executing this composition really well. It's very refreshing again to see this from Philadelphia Fusion. They've kind of been behind in terms of catching up to the meta, but now really trend setting it here, at least in this series. Got another EMP ready.
Yep, Poco running straight up into the front. EMP comes down, catches 4 as well as the Bionade out from Boombox. A fantastic setup. They do lose the Sombra in the fight, but now they're at 75%. Carpe is still just dinking heads.
Yeah, Boombox sets it up with the Bionade, and then they know they can commit into the fight there with the EMP. And Carpe, you know, a very famous Widowmaker player from last year during the Widowmaker meta. He finally gets to play his best hero again here, and it's no surprise he hits the heads.
And now, gonna have that infra sight up as well for this final push forward from the side of the Boston Uprising as they try to get the flip, but the barrage from EQO, he was waiting for him. The barrier cannot come fast enough, and Kelix can't get on the point quickly enough. They take him down 100-0. Fantastic start for the Philadelphia Fusion.
A great start. It's all about controlling space, you know, pulling the team apart from two different sides. You've got the Pharah on one side, the Widow on the other, and it makes it difficult for Boston Uprising to set up a viable defense because you can't block both sides with a Reinhardt. They swap to the Winston, unable to really do much with a bubble. There's only small windows where this actually is effective. We're going to take a look at this final barrage here.
He's got the infra sight. He just knows exactly where they're going to be.
For the Boston Uprising now, they're going to run the maze strategy we saw used by New York just moments ago on this very point. You control how much damage the Pharah could do. On one side, you've got the Mei wall, on the other side, you've got the Reinhardt barrier. You get on the point first. Very difficult to use the Pharah into this.
Kelixo slept. Seems like he's going to be okay. Hack comes in as well, but still going to be alive. RCK trying to figure out exactly what angle they're going to come from. Wall comes in. Sato's got nowhere to go. Depth of shield is not going to be enough. They managed to take him down, so first cap going to be going the way of Boston.
It's really surprising to see Sato go into this point. You know, perhaps he thought he could bait the ice wall out, then survive through with adaptive shield. Then when the wall went down, we'd see more damage from EQO, but did not work out that way in execution.
No, it did not. Good headshot there on a color hex. Bubble comes through.
Once
Sato again going to be taken out. For the hits here. EQO on the other side does have that barrage coming through. Wall comes up, but not in time to save Fusion. Sato, however, going to be res back into the fight. Carpe going to be taken down. Aim God managing to find the kill. Now popping the Transcendence. Kelix under some fire. Was bio-nated, but seems like he will be able to survive all the same. RCK drops low. Trying to stay alive. Sliver of HP remaining on him. Sato pushes forward and manages to find the kill there onto the May, but the flip's still not coming through for the Philadelphia Fusion. It's so much harder for them to play down on the ground with this far. That's why Carpe is swapping over onto the Tracer, so you can get right into the nitty-gritty of the action. It's already found one kill as Aim God gets taken down, but Blase, with that Perkita, manages to find a kill. Color Hex, low HP bar. Sato tries to finish him off. Poco comes through, manages to find a double. Now Kelix is going to be taken down. 60% for Boston Uprising, but Fusion get the flip.
Critically, they saved the EMP as well, and that's what's most important about this, because now they're going to have it for the defense. They could even use a barrage combo with it. And on the side of the Boston Uprising, they're running this Diva list at the moment because they did have RCK on the May. Now, they have a Blizzard ready, but I think given the tools that Fusion has, I would have preferred to see RCK go back to Diva here, because that shuts down, if you don't get hacked, what EQO is capable of here on this first defense.
Minefield right at the front.
It's going to force them to take another angle, and that gives Poco the opportunity to hit the EMP guaranteed.
Or just make them straight up wait, which it seems like Boston Uprising are going to be doing. They do have time on their side, at least for this round, but second Leo's by, closer Fusion are to a victory. Rally out, barrage from above. Finds Blase, cancels out that armor that was rolling through, and now it's just going to be cleanup.
And there's not a lot of easy ways to approach this point when you're running the May. You can't mitigate the damage from the Pharah on your approach. So even though they have the opportunity to set up something like a Grav Blizzard combo, we just saw this in our previous series, to reference it because it just happened. I mean, you can't get in. There's no Diva Matrix here. The Fusion's Reinhardt shield isn't going to be good enough. It's not enough. And you're never going to get that Grav chance if you can't approach the point. And I think that this May pick, he was holding on to the ultimate, but ultimately, no pun intended, I don't think he will get to use it. They are finding an angle here to poke in, but so much time is lost, and look at Poco. He's gonna shut this down.
He's lying in wait. Blase nearly taken down again. Instantly, Aim got gone. The barrage manages to find two, and again, Kelix just cannot possibly drop the barriers in time to react. It has to be a predictive move from him, but if he throws down that sound barrier, suddenly they just wait.
Diva swap is way too late here.
Yep.
It's not going to save them now.
I mean, they need to be able to tag in, and Kelix is going to be dead, so that should just about be it. And that is, they tick up. Fusion able to take Nepal. Back-to-back rounds, 2-0 for them. Now they're on the board.
It's a lesson you could take into your solo queue games. Sometimes you have to swap heroes when the situation calls for it. Holding your ultimate is not always the right play. They never got to use the Blizzard. They never got to use the Graviton Surge. They did not have that defense matrix when they needed it.
See a big smile there on EQO's face. So feeling good after that bar performance, as he should. Let's see what Boston can get done when we come back for the next map.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Not ready for the grand finals just yet in Philadelphia, the Wells Fargo Center, but we do have the Philadelphia Fusion on stage, currently 1-0 up at the start of this series. A fairly clean victory on Nepal.
Yeah, I mean, overall, the execution of this Widow Pharah has been really good for Philadelphia Fusion, and they're finally coming back into their own a little bit here. Well, you know, just give him his hand warmer. Don't have to bother Boombox with that. Just they don't want to pass it down the line, just toss it. Taking a look at the DPS duo here, almost triple the damage done by EQO, and that's the thing. Sometimes we like to focus on the Widowmaker stars and what they're capable of when they do click heads. Everybody likes to watch. It's so satisfying to watch a headshot from a Widow versus just a Pharah floating above, spamming out damage, spamming out rockets. But when there's no D.Va with Defense Matrix to allow Boston to get into position a lot of these times, EQO is just, he's happy to keep shooting rockets, you know? I mean, to see that much damage done on a single map, a 2-0, by the way, on Nepal, is almost unheard of at this professional level. D.Va-less, you're gonna take that damage.
Yeah, that was a really good round. Now, the onus is truly on the Boston Uprising to make some adjustments as we move forward into Horizon Lunar Colony. They will be attacking first. Right now, hovering over a couple things, but something tells me we're not going to be seeing Aim God on the Genji. Color Hex shows us the Torbjorn. We saw a bit of this yesterday.
Yeah.
Surefour did play it.
It's possible, but I don't think so.
Yeah, on the attack especially. Very unlikely.
Attacker's advantage, again, I talk about this a lot. Boston Uprising starting this to see if there's a Pharah defense from the Fusion because they're running it a lot. And they're going to stick with it versus the Goats here. The Pharah in particular is going to be very powerful. It's Blase on it. In this case, looking for the angle, trying to knock them off the high ground position, and he's very successful.
Yeah, Concussive Blast itself doesn't displace it, but the peel back coming through for Fusion. Want to play down onto the point. They know that they're eventually going to get forced back anyway by either the Wrecking Ball or the Sombra.
Notice Blase shot the barrier there, not the Zarya, so he's trying to unlock potential for Color Hex. If that barrier breaks, Color Hex can do so much damage. Every time Sato has to step back, look at the window that's given here to Color Hex. He's just going to break that barrier, and then they have to get off the point.
Yep, headshot there on the car base, offense him up a bit. Fusion still playing forward, nets them a single tick here on A. Still 3 minutes left to go. Sato just trying to allow enough time for that barrier to heal up, but takes a lot of damage, so has to just peel back. Now instant headshot through from Color Hex. Showing some decent accuracy here himself with the Widowmaker. Rocket still coming down, Blase trying to get that damage and trying to get that barrage online. About to be at 70%, as is RCK with that EMP. Second tick. Almost snagged here for Boston. Barrage now ready to go. Poco low in the mech, nearly popped out, also hacked. The heals start coming through, so seems like he will be okay. Armor rolling out from EQO's rally. Barrage thrown in onto Blase. He's up top, looking to break the shield here from Sato. Doesn't want to use that barrage yet, knows that the defense matrix is still going to be there.
Yep,
With Fusion's going down, the patience is going to be a good thing here for Boston Uprising in these ultimates.
It's crazy how many ways they cycled Sato's shield. The bubble coming through, the armor packs, but now the EMP may just open up the point for that barrage. If he hits Poco, that's the one he wants.
EMP going to be coming out, manages to find 3 Boombox, one of them now, Neptuno going to be down. Blase opens up 2 picks with that barrage and will be rezzed back into the fight. Sato finished off by the minefield, and it seems like Boston have finally won their way onto point A. We'll go ahead and cap this one up and have about 5.5 minutes in the time bank for point B.
RCK waited in that moment to see if he could potentially get a hack there onto Poco, and he was in position to hit Boombox as well. He hits both the D.Va and the Zenyatta, so prevents Transcendence and Defense Matrix, and it opens up that barrage combo to be so effective. But they had to use so many tools to take A, that they now have to swap heroes over to the Sombra Goats, and they're not going to be able to steamroll this into B. Fusion has ult advantage here, so they should be able to get some of that time bank back down after a failed defense.
Coming up nearly a big 6, honestly. Go ahead, just lob that Graviton Surge in. Instantly 3 kills coming through for the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. So easy cleanup there, only 1 ult having to be used. Now they have 5 more ready to go.
Yeah. And that's the big thing here for the Fusion is you just know they just swapped Aim God over to Zenyatta. You know, they just swapped Kelix over to Lucio. So you know there's just no real way they can stop you from getting value of this grab. They're running D.Valist. So you just walk up, use an ultimate, and suddenly 45 seconds disappear off the clock. A minute disappears off the clock, and you still hold ult advantage.
Well, next push coming through again, approach on the right side. From that defender's perspective, Aim God taking a lot of hits. Carpe up onto that high ground, just lobbing those right clicks through. And it will reroute them, so now looking to push up the upper left-hand side here. Boston Uprising wrapping around. They nearly have an EMP.
Look at Neptuno, looking for the boop.
Yep. Waiting in the back, RCK comes in from behind. EMP comes out, but Boombox, he kills him off. Aim God manages to equalize the kill onto the Zenyatta there, but the sound barrier is out from Neptuno. And Kelix is still so far away from it. Aim God just now getting ready to have his Transcendence, so still no real way for them to survive.
That was all Neptuno. That whole defense, he split the team in half. He shoved the front line so far away from the back that they had to back off and retreat very quickly to avoid getting picked there. But during the EMP, because of that, they weren't able to have any sort of follow-up damage. RCK swaps over to the D.Va here. And, you know, it's kind of been back and forth for him throughout these first two maps. This case, I'd rather him still be on the Sombra, but the high ground control's been a problem. So the D.Va's the swap they're going to look for here.
The ult economy is still not stabilizing for the Boston Uprising. See just two ultimates used in that last fight for the Philadelphia Fusion. The grab is back online for Carpe, and now he's opening things up with it. Transcendence is going to be out from Aim God. He'll get pinned over to the side, taken out, but no one able to focus fire down anyone on Boston yet. First Shatter. Online from Fusions, waiting for the opportunity, taking some damage from the side. EQO pushing forward, they get the shields bashing in onto him to try to weaken him up. Manages to stay alive through that self-destruct, charges into the back of the point, and now he's all by himself, completely disconnected, and will be taken down alongside Plaza and RCK Zemek. So again, Philadelphia Fusion come up with a fight victory, two more ults used, have the rally back online. Neptuno more than halfway to that next sound barrier.
So given there's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, you look at Boston Uprising's ultimates right now, this is the only unfair fight they can potentially take, and it's not really that much in their favor. Boombox holds the trance, Neptuno in the longer fight gets barrier. If they can't win this fight where they have this tiny advantage of Graviton Surge over Carpe, that I don't think they're going to take a single tick of B throughout the entirety of the rest of these 2 minutes. This has to be the fight they win, or they're already thinking about the defense.
Well, Aim God trying to build up, get that Transcendence ready, just 10% away, so it seems like he will be able to have that online, especially in time for Carpe's Graviton Surge, which is just now 19% away. Pushing forward, looking to punish Sato. He drops the hammer, but doesn't find anything. Good block there from Fusions. Graviton Surge is coming out, right all on top of each other. The bomb is in, and RCK sets up a double kill. Fusion's able to take down EQO just moments before as well, and now Boston Uprising are in on the point, and they're gaining traction here. 2 ticks getting ready to come through. Philadelphia Fusion, is there anything they can do to stop this? All ults have been exhausted. Poco nearly has a self-destruct, but he gets melted out of that mech instantly as soon as he touches forward onto the point. Sato going into the back, can't even reach the wall, taken down mid-charge. EQO as well gonna get picked off, and it seems like that will just be it. They step up the point for a moment. Boston Uprising, they do not adhere, they get the cap.
Very weak time bank for the meta though, just around 70 seconds. It's a cap on B, one they thought they might not get, but they've got to be stellar on the defense, or this might be a 4-minute worse time bank than what Fusion ends up with.
1 minute and 11 seconds here for Boston. If you're a fan, you're hoping for a full hold. We'll see if they can get it when we come back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 1-1-1 in the time bank for the Boston Uprising. Now moving over onto the defense. You can already see Blase going to be setting up with that Bastion. Color Hex back over onto the Widowmaker.
Now notice they're running a composition that is going to be very good against traditional 3-3. They know that in a traditional 3-3 mirror, there's a high chance, there's so much variance that Fusion would cap A and then double cap B and end up with something like a 5 to 6 minute time bank. Fusion will probably have to swap heroes here, barring something crazy happening when they do see the Bastion defense. And that means the double cap becomes less likely. So what Boston is doing here is really thinking about that time bank. So see how they have to come back and swap? Now the heroes that they're going to bring out here, they'll probably bring out the Hanzo, possibly the Pharah as well with it, but all the sort of bunker bust compositions you normally see. I think it will be the Hanzo Pharah here. Another variation is the Widow with the pick potential that Hog gives you. But look at the comp that Fusion has built. It's strong against the bunker, but it doesn't really lend itself to a double cap. So you're using a strategy here as Boston that's kind of making sure you're not going to end up with that situation where Fusion walks away with a 5-minute time bank.
Unless they can somehow make their way through without having to use really any ultimates, then the likelihood of a snowball going to be a lot more limited. For now, just looking to break down that barrier. Managed to do so, but another one freshly thrown down by Fusions. Just trying to keep everybody protected. The number of arrows getting sucked into that thing. Immortality field used by Kellex. Color Hex, ooh man. Very happy that that field was still lasting. Grapples back up here onto the high ground. Aim God way up into the front. Hulk coming through. EQO manages to find one, but Sato going to be taken down as well. Now Neptuno going to fall. Color Hex manages to find this time onto EQO. Carpe on the Color Hex, but it's going to be Fusions who are at Fusion, who is held at bay, not Fusions.
Fusion's
He's doing all right. Turns out he's playing far forward. He's feeling comfortable in that Orisa.
I did not foresee that when we were coming into cast of this match that we'd be doing that, but so look at the time bank already. It's pretty diminished for the Fusion. And, you know, even if they grab this.
Yeah, Kellex now going to be eliminated. However, there's not going to be an Immortality field available, which means the Dragon Strike from EQO. This cleans up Blase. Does manage to take him down. Carpe just trying to gate everybody else off. Headshot forward onto RCK in the mech. Nearly pops him out. Hex around the corner. Going to be taking out EQO there for the alley-oop. The double sniper coming forward to get rid of that enemy Widow. Cap rolling in. Just shy of 6 minutes. Going to be on the clock here for Fusion.
Now, if you look at the Fusion's ultimates, they don't have an EMP barrage combo. They don't have, you know, a Graviton Surge, right? So, you know, there's a chance they could cap with this, right, immediately and have a great time bank, but it's much less likely. So for Boston, you still feel like you've accomplished that much. I'm gonna keep this bunker up to see if the Fusion are swapping.
Sato just gonna be moving back over onto the Orisa.
Interesting choice here. The thing is, now the Uprising can use ults and then swap back to Goats. That's what we'll probably see here if they defend this first attack.
Oh, Hulk did. Bomb coming through. The barrier comes down and Boombox takes a breather to survive. One ult taken away, but still 4 more to go that Boston are holding on to. And now that's going to be the Intrasight coming out from Color Hex. Configuration tank as well thrown in, just breaking down that barrier, but otherwise not finding too many hits. Softens up EQO just a bit, but really just more of a zoning tool here from Blase the way that it's being used.
They can get up there and use that whole hawk. This could be a great chance.
Kellex has dropped down, jumps back up, goes straight into the Dragon Strike. Oh no! And now Blase gonna be gone as well. Carpe was actually the one who manages to finish off Kellex, but either way, he was done for. Fusion's pushed back into the corner. Boombox will get taken down. RCK doing some nice work here. Just break down the tank line. Trying to get rid of EQO as well. Charges forward. Also, Crossfire will. Color Hex comes back in with the Widow. It manages to take down that Hanzo. Carpe barely comes out on top, but despite all the chaos and the kills going the way of Fusion at the beginning, they can't get a tick.
Look at the composition of Fusion. The one thing it lacks is staying power, sustainability, right? And that's why a double cap I was talking about earlier is less likely, because even if you look like you're winning the fight, you can't win the longer fight against spawn advantage for the defending team when your only source of real healing is the Mercy. Now, I'm really surprised to see they're going to continue to run this here, because there was a high chance Boston was going to swap off of this, but even still, remember that sustain problem is going to persist.
Break down the barrier again. Sato nearly eliminated. Bomb thrown in, Boombox again taking a breather to survive. They punish RCK and they're making sure that he can't make his way back into that mech. Fusion's dropping down, hooked over onto the side. Goes low, but actually does manage to stay alive for a little bit longer, and Carpe's got to retreat over to pick up that mini pack. Just stay alive. Couple shots going forward on a Blase. Now Carpe, oh, he's between a rock and a hard place, and he can't make it out of there. Let's get taken down. Fusion are in the back, playing towards the spawn at the moment.
Yeah, this is not where they want to be.
Well, Bastion just going to be getting set up.
Oh, God.
And Matrix comes through, and there's just no way to survive.
That's the dream as a Batiste right there. You put that Amp Matrix down, and you're going to see the kill feed light up.
So brutal.
You're going to see the kill feed light up when you toss that one down. But look, now they get another setup here. Once again, EQO can break this with his Dragon Strike. But what happens next is really going to have to be instant kills. So they're going to have to kill everyone right away, and then they can take this point. But they still haven't gotten a tick yet. We're not talking about time bank anymore. We're talking about potentially losing this map as the Fusion. This push is the one, and the Dragon Strike has to get value. Just going to check to make sure they haven't repositioned. He's going to toss it in there.
Manages to spot out RCK.
Yeah, who's trying to be in position to eat this.
So, well aware of what they're going to be trying to do again.
They're going to get the confirmation everyone's still there, and he's going to toss it in.
Breaking down the barrier from beneath. RCK over on the side. Defense Matrix going to be used here for the moment.
You can't eat it now.
And jump back, comes through. Dragon Strike up over the top. Immortality Field is there. Now Configuration Tank going to be coming in. Still dangerously weak. But they use the Nano Boost to top up Blase, so going to be healthy. Supercharger goes down. EQO going to fall. Carpe as well eliminated. There's a minute and 45 seconds remaining. They managed to res EQO, but he's not going to make it out of here alive.
Even though RCK wasn't in position to eat the Dragon Strike, and even though, the previous time they were able to kill the Immortality Field, this time they weren't. Even though the setup was good there, it's just very difficult to make this work against a bunker composition. That's why you don't see it very often on point B. You'll see it all the time against bunkers on A, for example, like Paris. But here on B, it's really tough to execute. And the Fusion switched to 3-3, but they're about 4 minutes too late on that one. They're already now the inferior time bank, and building ultimates in less than 60 seconds here seems very unlikely.
Same approach. Coming through here. Junkrat now out from Color Hex. Knows that he doesn't have to try to match Carpe on that Widowmaker. So can go for a more tank buster build. Know exactly where they're going to be approaching from. Self-destruct, ready to greet them, throws that up onto the high ground, and RCK just finds a double. Poco and Sato both taken down. Blase finds Neptuno, and he is just more than happy to chill up top. 30 seconds remaining. All they managed to build was a Transcendence.
Yeah, and that's something that can give them the staying power they missed the whole time when they were running him on the Roadhog, but Boston Uprising has so many ways to shut this down, the Nano Boost in particular. Now, I like this swap for Carpe and EQO here to go for the dive. A hack, a blow up onto Blase might be their only shot at this. There's no res for Fusions. So this is a real opportunity here if the execution is perfect on the dive. No ults to speak of outside of the trance.
Making their way forward. Deflection already going to be used by EQO. Blase, nanoed up, configuration tank coming through. For the snipe there on the Neptuno, unable to find it. He gets up Poco, but the Transcendence was rolling, so he manages to stay safe. Sato has already been eliminated. Drop down comes in from Blase. Boombox disappears. Deflection is good. They managed to help take down Blase, but they're still just getting cleaned up. They get just past 1.5 ticks. And Boston Uprising, they put a map win on the board. No reverse sweep needed here today.
And what at first for Boston a lesson on how to deplete time bank and prevent double caps became an issue of Philadelphia Fusion not responding to the composition, continuing to run that same single healing Mercy comp. But even though they broke it the first time, it wasn't enough.
Well, we are all tied up here as we go into halftime. We'll see who takes the victory when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
The Fusion need a win here to stay in the Stage 3 playoff picture, but the Uprising aren't making it easy for them. They have things all knotted up at 1 apiece at the half. What's up, everybody? The band is back once again for halftime. Guys, we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show that the Philadelphia Fusion, their DPS players were going to have to step up for them to have success. So how do you think they've been performing so far today?
Well, they did just that. EQO and Carpet did what we all know they can do, and that is fragging out. And it didn't seem like Boston really found an answer to Carpet's Widow as well as EQO's Pharah play. This is something we wanted to see. I'm so very happy to see the Philadelphia Fusion finally playing to their strength and just busting it out. Of course, the maps also kind of lend themselves to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the case. Every time that the maps do lend themselves to it, Philadelphia should be playing this. You should never go away from Carpe and EQO playing DPS if you can help it. These guys are just phenomenal. Last year, they were hands down the best DPS duo in the entire league. And with Poco there, being able to play the Sombra as well, to set them up and put them in position to succeed, you see that they have enormous success. Boston Uprising really struggled to deal with it. Like defense matrix, bubbles, just being able to put pressure on Carpe and EQO before they engage. They kind of struggled with all of that. EQO was getting free barrages almost every time.
He really was, and honestly, he charged his barrage so quick. That guy has such good aim. He actually hit so many direct rockets. In the end of this map, I believe he was at 48 seconds time to charge his ult, so that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What do you do to stop something like that from happening? What do you do to stop?
Quit game? I don't know.
I think you got to put pressure on him, right? Like, if you've got a Zen, you want to put the Discord orb on him. If you've got a D.Va in the mix, you want to try and fly up to them and put pressure on them. Yeah. If you're playing the Mei like they were, so you can't really do either, then you're just trying to pressure him from a distance with icicles, or try and find avenues where you're faking in one direction and going the other. It's pretty difficult when you're playing that composition. They probably should have made a swap a little bit earlier.
Right. Well, okay, so EQO popping off on Pharah in that first map, but moving into Horizon, you couldn't really play that much Pharah, right? So didn't pan out as well for the Philadelphia Fusion. Boston was able to bounce back.
Having said that, we thought, and so did the casters, that Boston Uprising's offense might not be so great. In terms of the times that we're seeing in the current meta on Horizon, these were fairly slow with only 1 minute and 11 seconds left on the clock. But Philadelphia really struggled to break this bunker defense with the Bastion that we saw on point B. The Dragon Strikes up through the top were relatively successful when they caught the Immortality field. But a couple of times EQO missed the Immortality field, and then it's totally useless.
But speaking of the Immortality field, it was actually really great to see Kellex swooping onto that Baptiste. I actually think he did an amazing job there, and I don't think we've seen so much of it just yet, but that's definitely something Boston should stick with.
Been loving all the innovation we've been seeing with Baptiste, indeed, yo. So, all right, Philadelphia. That's where we're going to be for the grand finals. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited about that. So while we have the Fusion here on the stage, I thought it'd be a good time to quiz you guys on your Philadelphia knowledge.
That's a terrible idea. We're both from Europe. We don't know anything.
I can tell you now, Malik, I don't have a clue.
And I can tell you that I don't know the answers to these questions either. But I'm still going to ask them to you.
All right.
All right. So you guys ready for this? And guys in the crowd here, the Blizzard Arena, please feel free to give these guys a little bit of assistance because I think they might need it. All right. First question is...
Who for?
Philadelphia was home to the country's first what and what? You have arcade and ice rink, Ferris wheel and movie theater, police station and circus, or zoo and hospital.
A zoo and hospital.
Zoe's correct.
What?
Zoe is correct.
Actually,
How did you know that one?
Quick on the trigger.
Because I have lots of useless knowledge in terms of animals, and
so it was the zoo that got
the
you.
zoo
All
tipped
right,
it
all
off,
right.
yeah.
I'm ready to come back, though.
Impressive. All right, moving on to our next question. The Philadelphia suburbs are home to the largest what in the United States? Airport, shopping mall, parking lot, or state park?
The Philadelphia suburbs. The largest parking lot.
Is that your final answer, Sideshow?
That's my final answer.
That is wrong.
Shopping mall.
So I'm gonna give you a chance to cut in here.
Well, I go for shopping mall.
Shopping mall is correct. The king of Prussia Mall. So she's on fire, man. All right, next question.
No, she isn't.
Yeah,
William-
fire.
The William Penn statue on the top of City Hall is the tallest statue on top of a building in the world. How tall is it?
C, 37 feet. I know this for a fact.
That is correct, Sideshow.
Why do you know that?
Whoa,
Also,
give it up
what
to
is
these
the
guys.
William Penn
I don't know it at all, but if you say it with confidence and then it's true, you look like a genius.
Was that a guess?
Or
Yeah, that was a guess. Like all of my analysis, Malik, you say it with confidence.
Lovely.
I believe
I've learned
it.
from the best. All right, last question. Philly is home to the country's oldest what? Server? Monument? Person?
Monument.
Or bridge?
You're listening
Monument.
to the crowd. I heard
Of course
the
I'm
crowd
listening to the
shouting.
crowd. Of course,
So is
she
that
said
your
it with conviction, just
So
like you before.
Is that your final answer?
If it's her final answer, it's my final answer. Is it your
That's your
final
final answer?
Yes,
That is
absolutely.
incorrect. So you were misled by the. Oh, she has an uprising flag. Why would you trust her? She has an uprising flag. She
That
lost it.
the Boston
Sideshow.
Bridge. Is it a bridge?
Bridge, correct. That is correct. Yeah, the Frankfurt Avenue Bridge or the Pennypack Bridge. But guys, thank you very much. Give it up for these guys.
I won, I think.
And you guys at home, don't forget to buy your tickets for grand finals. Hit up overwatchleague.com. We're going to be doing it big in Philly this September. But guys, we still got a whole half left in this Philly versus Boston matchup. Who's going to come out on top? We're going to find out in just a moment. Stay tuned.
I started watching some streams of the pros, and the pros were amazing. And one of the biggest guys I saw was awesome was Hydration. He was part of the Gladiators.
Suddenly I'm at every game, and
The beautiful LEDs, the cheers of the crowd.
it shields up. It's thunderous applause. It's roaring in the arena. It's a lot of clap, clap, stomp, stomp. You just kind of get sucked into it.
And I've been hooked ever since.
And welcome back. We are currently halfway through this set. We are all tied up 1-1. Philadelphia Fusion unable to get the cap there on B, which means the Boston Uprising have tied us up, and now we get ready to move into hybrid to see who can take the lead and move up to match point.
There's been a lot of strategical advantages for these two teams in terms of composition that have led to the downfall of obviously Boston in the first map, you know, trying to run that Mei and really trying to just push it through all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Same for Fusion there on Horizon, trying to break the bunker composition with the Hanzo, Solo Pharah, Roadhog composition. It didn't work out until the end there. They swapped over to Goats. It was too late. So tried dive very briefly as well. And, you know, it's just about that strategical depth that these two teams have. They know their opponents are likely to run. They try to run the counter to that. And it's working out well for both teams. So this is anyone's series to take. But already, if you're a Fusion fan, you've lost that critical map. You know, this is a series you really needed to win 4-0 to try to push into playoffs. And you've already missed the boat on that one.
But at least now they know they can't be reverse swept, Wolf.
True.
It's off the cards.
It is off the
It's
cards.
not possible.
It's not possible.
Because, you know, with Boston Uprising, until they lose, they're winning. But I got a map on the board, so reverse sweep not quite going to happen. You can see here 3-1 records all around for both these squads on Numbani. Philadelphia Fusion going to be defending first again, and they're just going to be sticking with standard. Sato going to be on that Winston that he loves so much.
Yeah, it's the most viable way to run goats on Numbani A defense. You use the bubble to basically get immortal, build Carpe's energy while also doing massive damage with the Tesla cannon and cleave damage in the choke. The Uprising are going to do something a little bit out of the ordinary here. They're going to try to get this Bastion into position to do massive burst damage.
Well, they've already spotted it. They have the double shields with Blase on the Reinhardt, so they can set up a decently fortified position here on the point. Oko already has to retreat up to the top. Sato dropping down for just a moment, instantly taken down to about half HP. One tick gonna be snagged.
This is on the point, so they have to get in there.
RCK has been taken out of that mech, so mitigating the damage coming through gonna be a lot more difficult. Immortality field hoping to buy a bit more time here for the side of the Boston Uprising, but that's going to be expiring rather soon. Color Hex stunned up for the moment. Drop down comes in from Sato. Primal Rage going to be online. RCK manages to make it back into the mech, but now Fusion's going to be eliminated. Sato is just juggling fools down in this hallway. Cleanup coming in. RCK going to be trying to retreat, but they will be able to pop him out.
Ironically, this is perfect for Sato. This style that Uprising is running, it allows him to use the chokes, control that. With Carpe having the bubble on him, they both do massive damage there. It's tough to get those kills, but you do win the longer fight every time in this case. So looks like Uprising are going to try to use configuration tank to take this point, but with the ultimates online for Fusion that we have right now, I don't think it's going to be easy.
Well, same setup coming through. Drop down again, comes in from Sato, building up very rapidly. You can see that Primal Rage surging up, but this time, Color Hex with an Nano getting tossed in. Will be able to come up with a kill. Shots coming through. Oh, Neptuno sniped out of the sky. Transcendence used by Boombox just to try to buy a little bit more time here. EQO going down to about half HP. Will get finished off by Blase, but Aim God and Kellex have been eliminated. Now Color Hex and Blase taken out of the fight. So despite the kills coming in, seems like Philadelphia Fusion will be able to stabilize.
They picked the targets they needed to. They killed the supports, and a Bastion alone is not able to win that longer fight and take the point. I know Bastion mains out there shake their fists in anger and say that that's not true. They can carry 1v6 on attack, but you can't. And they killed the supports. Sato did everything he needed to do in his own way, helping build that energy up for Carpe as well. Even though he died early, he gave the space required to get in there on top of the supports. Now they don't have that tank configuration anymore, and the time is ticking down.
Well, still just back to doing the same thing this time. And Matrix coming through, Immortality goes in, Poco destroys it with a bomb, and the leap from Sato manages to kill off Color Hex. Sato set up for just a moment, but again, in this hallway, he can just beat and batter everybody with that Primal Rage. Blase dropped the hammer, got a decent shatter, but still cannot retreat safely. We're down to 1 minute and 5 seconds. Boston Uprising saying, you know what? Yep, we gotta make some swaps.
I feel like this swap might have been warranted after the first attack that did not go successfully. And, you know, when you look at this, they're running the same thing that Fusion are, minus the Ryan, obviously, but they don't have ultimates. So how could they possibly expect this to be successful? But it's still their best bet. It's their best option here. It's just not a good one.
Well, RCK coming in from the side. Too late to try to get that defense matrix out. It is just going to be a clean team kill coming through.
Sato sits at nearly 5,000 damage this game, and Fusion spent most of the game on the Orisa is at 1,500 at the moment. Sato doing so much damage in these chokes. The grab sets it up, he gets the leap damage, now he's got the primal. Color X built nothing, and there's not even gonna let him touch it.
Yep, sound barrier coming through, Aim God taken down already. Nanoboost got thrown down onto Fusions. He built up a very fast Earth Shatter, managed to stun 2, but the kills aren't really following. Finally takes down EQO with the pit, but somebody's gotta make their way over onto the point, and so far, no one has. They're trying to make their way around the back. Kellex barely manages to tag in, but he is completely surrounded and already finished off. Fusion's charging over the side, cannot make it in time. It is gonna tick down. 79.4%, I do believe, is as good as it's going to get for the Boston Uprising.
At least have an opportunity to win this map with a full hold, and with a full hold on B, we know it's possible. We just saw it on Horizon, that's the B I'm referring to, but not a great start here. Pretty unusual composition of Philadelphia Fusion. Shut it down, textbook.
All right, well, Philly Fusion just have to get basically the cap on it. Let's see if they can do it on their attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Огонь по готовности!
And here we go, Boston Uprising getting set up for their defense. Need to pull off a full hold if they want to move up to match point here, get that 2-1.
Yeah, you know, we'll never know if Boston kind of misunderstood why their Bastion defense on Horizon B had success versus the attack Bastion there. But I think it was a pre-planned strategy that they, you know, talked to their coaching staff about. They wanted to execute, they wanted to push it to the limits. For this defense, they will be running the Pharah Widow, which is very powerful on Numbani. They also have the extra disruption of RCK on the Sombra. Fusion, comp they're running is just a scout. They're going to swap. They wanted to see if it was going to be, you know, some sort of bunker composition or if it was going to be a recent Junkrat Widow. Now that they know, they're going to run this again, the boombox onto the Hog, the Widow.
Still swapping up, making, you know, making up their minds. RCK just studying all of this. Of course, they can also just press tab.
Yeah, at this point, you can see it. So, getting line of sight here as the attacker, Carpe, is going to be difficult. He's going to try to flank around the left side to get a surprise angle. Meanwhile,
he's being tracked.
Yeah,
Hunted by RCK. Oh, the push-up coming through. Hook instantly in on a Fusion. Boombox trying to finish him off. Except for there, but the heal denied is there. So can't heal, but does get that damage mitigation coming through at least, so he's able to survive. Now they're on the point. See how far back that Orisa is. It's so difficult just to walk up. Blase going to be applying pressure, but in all likelihood, he's going to have to drop down over onto the point. Fusion's managed just to find Neptuno. Sato will get taken down and Poco knocked out of the Mac. Boombox misses the hook here onto the Pharah, and now it's going to be hacked. They managed to finish him off.
Guess who's got more healing here?
5.8%.
Guess who's got more healing here with the Ana and the Mercy? When it's a scrappy fight like that, team has more healing will win the longer fight because you can't, unless you get all the kills instantly, you're going to run out of steam. There's only one person at a time Neptuno can heal. Not only is it single healing, but it's to one person constantly. You can't AoE one healer for one target.
Unless he's using Valkyrie.
Of course, yeah. Which he was not.
Yeah, jump up over the top, Carpe under some fire here. And Sato already eliminated by Fusion. EMP buying more time off the clock here. Now Mirage around the corner. Boombox with the right click does take Blase out of the sky, but Prez is already set. Calyx puts him right back into the action.
Impressive stuff from Boombox here in terms of his accuracy on the right clicks. Getting kills like that is difficult to do against Pharah, but he's unable to get into position to hit impactful hooks. This comp is supposed to put you on the back foot as the defending team. You're under the threat of hooks and the Widowmaker. But Fusion just aren't able to put Boston into that uncomfortable position. Look at the safe place where the supports are right now. Aimgon and Calyx at the back. He has no line of sight here, Carpe, to take them out.
Well, Supercharger drone down. Nano on a Blase goes into the back. Manages to find EQ open. Fusions has already been eliminated. The Supercharger is gone. Poco going to be knocked out of the mech. Has that self-destruct trying to make his way back in. Blase going to get picked out of the sky by Carpe. Now the res back onto the Hanzo. Supercharger gone for Sato. Philadelphia Fusion still have 6 players, 2-3 down now for the Boston Uprising, and Fusions will fall. Seems like it was just a matter of time, and Fusion's finally breaking through onto the point. Just have to clean up these last few members. They do so. Blase going to be rolling his way back in, but he alone cannot last long enough. The hook is there. They close that out. Philadelphia Fusion take Numbani to move up 2-1 in the set.
You've got to get those kills. You've got to chain them together, link them together, and they all have to happen in quick succession. And finally, they were able to break through and get that angle, make it happen there. They take a 2-1 lead. It's been a pretty chaotic series, a lot of weird compositions.
But it seems like that's just going to be the standard here. 2-1 the score. Let's see what happens on Escort.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Welcome back. We have one more map at least. This Boston Uprising can tie us up again as we get ready to move into Havana for Escort. Philadelphia Fusion, though, looking good there on Numbani. Come up with that victory.
It's a great map for Bunker as well, especially on A. And given how Boston has been playing this series so far, I think we can reasonably expect to see a little bit more of that. And it feels like we're kind of following the script in terms of the difference in these two teams' compositions. Fusion had a really rough time breaking the bunker on B on Horizon. Havana is arguably an even stronger bunker setup, but there's a lot more different angles of attack. On Horizon B, you kind of have to wrap around the left side and then go upwards to where the high ground is. In this case, you know, you can't really stay in one location. You'll eventually have to be shifted back to lose ground. That's why Havana's, in my opinion, Havana A is one of the best designed escort points in the game. I really like it a lot. And Bunker's not the only composition you do see there. Before we get ahead of ourselves, it will be Boston on the attack first. So, you know, we'll table this discussion for when they do have their defense opportunity. But for now, it is going to be the Pharah defense for the Fusion.
Uprising. Expecting a couple extra flips coming through. There you go. RCK likely to scout just with the Sonic Arrow here and then swap off. So changing things up. Okay, so maybe making things a little bit more interesting.
Carpe with the greedy attempt to snipe here, the flank. Doesn't find an angle, unfortunately, and we'll have to back off, but could have been awesome.
And Blase now going to be moving over onto the Hanzo. Poco playing forward, does a little bit of damage. Cart will start to advance. Blase still making up his mind. It's going to be the Tracer coming through.
Yeah, Tracer Genji. You know, in a different world.
And now the Sombra.
If Fusion was on Winston, we'd be living in a different time.
Yeah. We just need a Zenyatta after that. Tossing the barrier up. Just making sure that those constantly get refreshed and are set up for the defense here. Up into the air goes EQO. He's been having a field day on the Pharah so far.
The angle here is not good for EQO in terms of damage, but he's forcing them to kind of corral in here.
Bionade on the 2, push up into the high ground. Boombox gonna be taken down, and they've got it's a Bionade there on a Poco. RCK gonna be taken out of the mech, but so far that's the closest thing to a casualty. And they have deflection coming in. Weakens them up. EQO will be able to dunk color. Hex now finds RCK, but Fusion with the grapple of all things swings up into the air and manages to take him down. Now Carpe going to be taken out as well. Blase pushing forward to give him a nice punch in the face.
That was really terrific coordination of the dive there from the Uprising. They got corralled into that room by EQO's rockets, but then they were able to press the go button and perfectly slice through and dive.
Well, still going to be trying to contest the cart here. Here's the Philadelphia Fusion. Nano thrown down on the Fusions. Sato barely able to leap out. Sleep Dart connects, but they manage to wake up. That Wrecking Ball. Color Hex up over the top. Gets rid of EQO, and Neptuno going to be finished off by the pile driver. Cart has already rolled through into A, and now it's just looking like, you know, staggers here onto the members of the Philadelphia Fusion. Want to be taken down much faster than this.
So Boston Uprising now have the Blade EMP combo. They've been pretty good at shutting down Poco in all these fights to prevent his EMP, including that last one. Blase was able to prevent him from executing that. So if they could do that again, this should be a great fight for them around these ramparts where you're actually, as Genji, gonna have a lot of fun because you have the ability to hide behind these boilers, but then look at the dashes.
Well, EMP and the Blade gonna be coming through. 4 members caught. EQO, the first one to fall down. Neptuno joining them. Looking for a couple more targets. Doesn't want to stick around Carpe. Smart of him. One of the few things that he cannot deflect is going to be that beam, and as you can see, Carpe does manage to take Color Hex down. Cart still contested here for the moment. Poco barely making it out with his life intact. Minefield comes down from Fusions. They just look to chip away, but the cart has not been advancing. Cart stopped here for the moment. Color Hex off that Genji, now onto the Tracer.
All right, here's the Nano. Sleep immediately.
Yep, now going to be woken up. EMP comes in from Poco.
Counter sleep.
Sound barrier comes in. Color Hex going to be taken down by the Barrage. Grab in from above Carpe, catching them straight in onto the cart. And they can just not stay alive. The bomb coming through. RCK not going to find a pick. Barely makes it back into the mech. That's about as good as it gets for him.
Yeah, at least he's able to escape there. He uses the ultimate, finds nothing. The remake at least allows him to get out, otherwise he might have been staggered there. So, for the Fusion, this has been a great defense. It looked really dire after that Dragon Blade.
No.
Well, I spoke too soon on that one, didn't I? It looked really dire after the Dragon Blade, but they were able to stabilize really well off the back of Carpe Zarya, and the Boston Uprising are just going to have to match composition now. And EQO can hold this far for a little bit longer. I think this EMP fight is where he's probably going to stop right after that.
They found asleep on the Poco, but they couldn't kill him.
But if EQO sticks with this far after the EMP, you know, I don't know how much longevity this comp will have, but it's working well for them still, and it's just now the Uprising have swapped, so they're behind in ultimates.
Push their way forward, Color Hex quickly building up that energy. Trying to break through that bubble. Nano boost is on to Sato. Still holding on to that primal range, just waiting for his opportunity. RCK getting lower and lower in that neck. Needs to hold on to that massive bio. Grenade connects onto the members of the Boston Uprising as a barrage comes down from above. 3 taken out. Now 4's Fusions falls, and we are down below 2 minutes remaining for Boston.
They know that there were not that many ultimates built on the side of the Uprising, or that much ult charge built on the side of the Uprising in that fight. And Poco got to hold EMP. This is a rare case where I think holding the Pharah here just makes sense because they're not able to deal with it effectively. They don't have range damage. They're not pressuring you on the ground. You have free reign. And with the EMP coming up, it's going to get even easier if RCK gets hacked even just by a right click. Once again, EQO will have that free reign for damage.
EMP out from Poco catches all 6 members of the Boston Uprising. The only ult that they need to take the fight, RCK, going to be popped out of the mech here at the end again. You would expect. Yep, the final shot. Color Hex does finish off Neptuno, and EQO gets taken down. So able to trade back just a couple of kills, but the cart is still in the hands of the Philadelphia Fusion.
Monty hit on it earlier. A lot of teams are just removing the D.Va from the equation and flexing a DPS player into the Sombra role. It's hard to play D.Va in this meta. You know, it really is. RCK swapping over here again. Back to it, to Remac, but you're just always abused by the Sombra. You've got so much pressure on you from the Pharah as well.
Ult battery, as we call it. Leap in, goes through from Sato, bashed up for the moment, but still has that nano, hard to take down. EQO, he get picked off here by himself, it would seem, and Neptuno gonna be smacked out of the sky by Fusions right as that primal gets popped and the nano boost comes through. Jump back over to the side, now looking for Boombox. Sato trying to create a little bit of space here for his supports, but RCK is there to assist. There's to take down that Ana. Neptuno still gonna be looking to rejoin. Carpe falling low, retreats back with the bubble. The leap forward from Fusions manages to finish him off, and Sato will be taken down as well. Boston can finally get the cart rolling. It's going to be in overtime if they can make it to B. Rez comes through, Carpe's back into the mix.
This is a huge opportunity. They absolutely can win this fight with the grab EMP. Sato swaps to Ryan. They're going to look for the contest.
The EMP's nearly there. Color Hex nearly grabbing his own sound barrier as well. Available.
He can't block both though. There's no way.
Yeah, they can bait barrier and then shut down the shields with that EMP. Philadelphia Fusion. The deck is stacked for these guys. Grab comes in. Grab comes out. Neptuno gonna get popped. RCK finding that one. Blase gonna be caught alone on the cart. RCK joins in. EMP now out from Poco. Manages to find 3, but the beat is gonna be good from Calyx. Manages to shield up the remaining members. The primal range is there to create some space. Just a couple more meters left to go. Boston Uprising will be able to grind against the Philadelphia Fusion to make it into point B.
They were too timid. They did not pull the trigger. Philadelphia Fusion did not pull the trigger on that fight. Color Hex put the grab in first, ruining the setup the Fusion were trying to execute. It was Calyx who got the perfect barrier after EMP because the Fusion were playing reactionary in a moment where they had total control. They were too passive, and now the Boston Uprising a second chance here on C. They have a grab advantage as well in terms of that ult charge right now. This is definitely finishable.
Yep, Color Hex striking first, means that he builds up more. So far, it's going to be a nano on either side, plus a rally for the Philadelphia Fusion. Both going to be tossed down. Fusion's himself receiving that nano boost. Shatter comes in, manages to find Calyx. Hasn't been able to finish off that Lucio yet, though. Fire strike in, weakens Blase, nearly picks him off, but still going to be alive. Color Hex getting closer and closer. Grab just 10% off. Carpe just now hitting 50. Playing up onto the cart, surges up to 99 energy. Show a lot of respect to this guy now. Grab,
He's got grab.
line. waiting for his opportunity. He sees Poco there, throws the grab in onto the back of the cart, finds Sato, finds Poco, Bionade onto both of those frontliners. Kellick's still gonna be taken down. Poco not knocked out of the mech. They can't finish it off. They only find Sato. Now with the healer down, Boston Uprising gonna be trying to survive. Aimgod doing his damage to keep everybody in the fight. RCK getting weakened, nearly taken out of the mech. EQO dashing over to the side. Sliver of HP remaining for him. It just created enough space. Now the grab comes in from Carpe. Bombs up over the top of both these teams looking for the picks, but it's RCK who comes up, trumps Boombox. Gonna be taken out of the fight with a nano boost in the inventory. Pushing forward another nano here on Fusions. Pushes Philadelphia Fusion back. They have to show respect. They have to give up space.
This is really good for the Uprising. Shatter blocked. Actually not completely.
Manages to catch two over onto the side. That's going to force out the beat now, but EQO going to be taken down. It's just a nano boost and a beat nearly up for Neptuno here for the Philadelphia Fusion to try to hold this off. Bionade is in onto Fusions. The charge coming in. Not going to be able to find the connection.
Carpe on high ground. That's a huge advantage for them right now.
Color Hex, oh no! They peel off their cart. They pull back for just a moment. They nearly had the grab, but instead it ends there for the Boston Uprising. Now have to successfully defend on Havana.
But Havana, a map that's one of the rarer ones to see full finishes on in professional play. So to get the point this far for the Uprising, you still feel pretty good about how you were able to turn around what was nearly a B hold into almost grabbing C. So, you know, things could have been a lot worse. We normally see the cart end around those inside catwalks, you know, but goes all the way to the end here. But this is the moment where, you know, they get knocked off the point. You see, boom, there goes Neptuno.
Yeah, the boop comes in, and you can kind of see it in Color Hex's face, you know, at the end, kind of had his hands up in the air. He's like, oh, you know what, I was the one who needed the tag, but an understandable.
It's a good play by Neptuno, you know. It's not a mistake on the side of the Uprising, because Neptuno comes in for the flank, and when you're at that point of the overtime, it just flies down to zero if you get pushed off of it. So this was the most interesting part of the conversation we started when we came to this map, was what would Boston Uprising be running on the defense, because they've shown us so much Bastion, but they're not going to run it. They're going to run the Reinhardt, Zarya, Goats variation here. Sombreless, in fact, RCK on the Diva, potentially for fear that Fusion would run a Pharah attack. But they're looking like they might want to go down the Orisa Bastion route. Change their minds.
Yeah, swapping things up.
It's a very aggressive setup here for the Uprising, so they can't really set up. That's why they're playing this far forward. So the Bastion comp could ruin them, but not if they can't set up.
Carpe pushing in from the side, bubble forward as the pile driver comes through, and Kellick's going to be taken down. Now Aimgod gone, no supports here other than Blase for the Boston Uprising. And it should just be a matter of time as the rest of the team gets cleaned up. Drop down onto the low ground, they go ahead, finish him up, and that's going to buy a decent amount of space here for the cart.
Fusion here just crushing the, I don't want to call it a full spawn camp, but you know, you're playing aggressively because you want to prevent the Bastion setup, which Fusion was definitely considering. They see immediately Uprising's positioning change course back to the Pharah, and this is working so well for them. The Uprising are going to get another chance to defend here, but they didn't get the ult build that they were really looking for.
Minefield coming down from Sato. Like not really finding too many connections on anybody, but Fusion's still going to be taken down. Poco able to find the kill. Sato into the side room, bashed up, trying to survive, trying to make his way out of there, but Blase won't let him escape. Does manage to find the one kill there onto the Wrecking Ball, but turns out he's got a considerably faster run back compared to anybody else. Double kill here from the Barrage EQO. Cleaning up, both supports gone again, and Philadelphia Fusion will continue to push forward.
As soon as RCK is out of the mech, you know you have free reign for the Barrage. He was under so much pressure up there on the high ground that he couldn't really deny that damage coming out from EQO. The hero swaps here for the Fusion are perfect given the situation, how Boston started this map. And even contesting is going to be so difficult right now. You might just want to consider letting this go.
Well, they start pushing their way out. Carpe, decent damage output here at the moment. Needs to build up that energy a little bit more. Give it a wave over to RCK. He says, hey, I'm going to strip you that mech. Bomb comes out. RCK looking for the pick, unable to find one. Hides behind the cart, manages to stay alive. But in the meantime, soon as that mech is gone, opens up for the Graviton Surge to come through, so Color Hex gets taken down.
They trade ultimates here. It's about a 3-for-3 trade on both sides, but Fusion still get control of the cart, still will get a... Not really an egregious contest there because the ultimate trade was decent for them. It's still in favor of Fusion though. The most important one they hold is the EMP. Kelix doesn't have Sound Barrier yet, and even if he does, it's not going to guarantee that they'll be able to live through the barrage coming out from EQO. So that contest, slightly negative impact on Boston Uprising, but it wasn't the worst because they forced out the grab, Valkyrie, and Transcendence.
I mean, the EMP Shatter, the EMP Mirage, they have their options here for them. Fusion's diving into the back, has that primal range to try to stay alive. Shatter came down from Sato, manages to find him, the pin follows up. So instantly going to be taken out of the fight. Now that that ult's gone, maybe we'll see Fusion swap over onto the Reinhardt to try to go toe-to-toe against Sato, and that's exactly what's going to be happening now. Rocket's still coming down, Blase under some pressure, trying to play up onto the carpet. The barrage comes through, RCK popped out of the mech, and they will finish him off mid-charge. The cart will continue, and this is the toughest choke right here.
Yeah, this is the part where a lot of teams get held. And we almost saw Uprising get held at this very location as well, right before B. They get the EMP set up here now. Poco on the left side, far from his team, so it's harder to track where he is. Nano early, this could be a problem.
Yeah, Nano coming in, RCK gonna be hacked. And she's in the defense matrix. Poco, 2 HP, oh man, barely makes it out of there. Gets that mini pack, EQO slap gonna be finished off. Fusion's pinned, but the bubble still lasts. And he is gonna be fine for now. Into the corner, gets that Bionade to try to stay alive, and the healing looking good. Means that Boston Uprising will be able to regain control of the cart.
Now, watching that last fight, a lot of people are probably wondering why Poco didn't translocate in an EMP. He was strategically waiting for Kelix to barrier in that fight where Carpe had used Graviton Surge later, hoping that he could then delete the barrier, but he waited too long, the opportunity never presented itself. He still has that very critical ultimate here, but Kelix didn't have to barrier, so we're back to the same situation, except Color Hex ahead on Grav.
Yep, Transcendence is available here from Boombox and doesn't have to worry about an EMP. Denying him uses of that ultimate. Grav's coming in. The Bio Grenade, however, means that the Transcendence does not get any value. Sato and EQO both going to be eliminated. Charge forward Fusions and unable to find a kill. That's perfectly fine for the side of the Boston Uprising. They still maintain control.
This is a staple of the playstyle of the Uprising, especially with Fusions and Color Hex, is to be proactive versus EMP fights. Engage, go in, take the fight to them, use the grab before they can have that EMP setup. Kelix still gets to hold barrier here. And Poco, the longer you hold EMP, the less and less value you're getting off the Sombra in general. So being proactive is often the best way.
Shatter out. Wrap around the back there. Fusion's looking for something, unable to find it, but Sato's still going to be taken down. It's at the cost of RCK, however. Poco still hovering in the back under some pressure, leaps his way out of there. But now he's straight in front of the Reinhardt. He's got nowhere to go, and Fusions will just cut him down.
Kelix is probably wondering if he could have built another sound barrier right now. Poco, his EMP is canceled. He's gonna swap over to the Diva. Goes like, well, I mean, you know, I've been practicing my EMP cancels, but he's not able to execute it because Fusion are looking for the ideal team fight, and we're not giving it to them. We're engaging first. We're dictating the pace of the fight, where it happens. Does it happen on the staircase? Does it happen on the catwalk? Do we control the high ground? Look at where RCK is up at the top. These things are preventing Fusion from doing what they planned on doing. And now they're, again, even on grab. No trance, though.
Yep.
So this is Boston's fight to lose.
Neptuno is still 30% away, rather, from that next sound barrier. So Boston, the match in their hands right now, looking to tie us up and force us to another map 5, back-to-back series. Let's see if they can do it. Color Hex to build up some of that energy.
That's the one thing they really are missing right now is the energy.
Well, it's just a little bit there, still holding on to his own bubble. They surrender a little bit of space here to the side of the Fusion. Neptuno going to be taking a nap. Can use the sound barrier right now, but I don't know if anyone on the side of Boston can actually finish him off. Bionade onto 3. No kills coming through yet. Sound barrier to start. Neptuno drops the beat. Grab comes through forward onto the cart. The bomb straight in on top of their heads. Sato gets a block for 2, but Neptuno's still going to get taken down. Now Boombox comes through with the Transcendence. Try to elongate the fight, but EQO going to be taken down. Poco under pressure, trying to survive. Edges the bomb off the edge, manages to find Kelix. Shatters out from both sides. No one getting sunned up, however. Carpe still high energy, but low on HP. He's trying to survive, but now Boombox and Sato gonna be taken down. He himself fallen, and Boston Uprising look to close out Havana. They'll finish off Poco, they'll finish up Neptuno, the OT will plummet away. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to another game 5.
It's not a reverse sweep, but it's a Boston Uprising map 5. They've seen many this season. Fusion rather. There's Fusion. Fusion. Their last map 5 went their way, but I don't feel like they're fully in control of this series right now. That is for sure. Great aggressive play from Boston, preventing those EMPs.
Back and forth, but one final map to settle it all. We'll see what happens when we come back for the tiebreak.
Огонь по готовности. Огонь по готовности. Apagando las luces. Огонь по готовности. وريهم قوتك. Justice reigns from above. وريهم قوتك. Heroes never die. огонь по готовности.
Into the iris.
Nerf this.
I'm gonna move, sorry, I ain't We got boom. It's okay, chill. Good push, guys, good push.
Yeah.
It's a good boot.
It was indeed a good boop. You have to admit it, even though it denied them the finish of the map there on Havana. It was a very solid boop by Neptuno, but it was not enough to ensure victory for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, we're referencing the end there just before C, where the overtime did tick down, but you can see how hectic comms get in overtime pushes in terms of shot calling, what to target, where the angles are, when you're going to go in for knockback, as was yelled out there in the end. And, the second the knockback comes out, everyone's just yelling for point, just in case anyone was looking elsewhere, is to go and touch the cart, but there's not enough time there. Well, we're going to that fifth and final map of Ilios, a map where Pharah, absolutely viable, Widow, viable. We've seen a lot of Orisa recently, and even a little bit of a resurgence of McCree. But when you take a look at the all-time record of these two teams in terms of map 5s, 15 wins of 20 for the Uprising, or 15 wins of the 20 this has happened, and then Fusion very close at the 21 and 15 as well.
I mean, 15-5 to 15-6. So we are neck and neck as far as those game fives are concerned. Ilios, as you mentioned, the staging ground to decide who the victor will be.
They're second and third in terms of map 5 record wins. So, you know, in the past, you know, you would give the edge to the Fusion for most of the season, right? And then coming into stage 3, you're a little bit skeptical about Fusion in this series and their adaptability, but you know, you're still not sure Uprising could take it, right? If you're a Fusion fan, you're feeling a little bit nervous about this series, but this has definitely not gone the way anyone's expected. And they started off with a win there at the beginning on Control, but this could certainly slip through their fingers.
Well, Fusion just showing that 3-3 for now means that Boston Uprising, they're like, okay, no Widow, no Tracer, let's just go ahead, change it up. We'll just be matching Aim God, though, curiously going to be moving over onto the Zenyatta, will not be matching Boombox with the Ana.
They know that the trance is so important because they're going to be behind in the Zarya ult charge. Not massively, but it's very likely because they have point control.
See how things are going to transpire. Have to be careful about those bio nades. Instead, RCK has to be on point with denying those away with that D-Matrix. Aim God under some fire. Will get topped up here very quickly. Fusion stun up at the top of the ramp. Not going to be taken down. EQO, however, they collapse it upon him. He plays too far forward. Color Hex finds that kill. Poco knocked out of the mech. Now Neptuno going to be gone. So Philadelphia Fusion grabbed the point first. A very fast flip comes through for Boston Uprising.
You know, it's very rare to see a point get taken back so quickly after one team does a hero swap and, you know, the positional advantage goes to Fusion. But it wasn't with a Reinhardt. It was with Sato's comfort pick, the Winston, which there's not a lot of choke points to operate with on this map outside of the room just to the edge of the control point itself. So, you know, it's not a comp that really works as well on holding onto a point after capturing it as Boston's does with the Reinhardt here. You can hunker down, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Decent bit of damage coming through. Carpe able to build up that energy rather quickly. And a forward here on Sato as he pushes up. Fusion's nearly taken down the bio nade. Almost killed him off, but AimGod comes in perfectly with the Transcendence. Now EQ and Sato both going to be eliminated here again. Chase forward comes through. They clean him up.
The defensive ultimates there, or, you know, ultimate of the Transcendence ends up being better than the aggressive nano boost that comes through. Boombox is going to swap because they can't break into this point off nano boost alone versus the composition Uprising is running, because Discord orbs are going to hit Sato. He's not going to be able to stick on this Winston, and they're going to have the Transcendence for these fights, the longer fights, versus Grav, which Fusion until now didn't have the opportunity to take. This is the best time to swap, but gonna have to look for a better fight here with the Rhine.
Grab up from either side, comes through first from Color Hex. Carpe holding on to his because he knows he's not gonna survive the fight. Sound barrier was used there by Kelix. He's got a Boombox right now firmly neck and neck as far as that Transcendence charge is concerned, but Imgod will be looking to get that online quickly because this could be potential for a flip here for Fusion.
Fusion's right now, he had the faster Rhine. He started with the Rhine. He's got the Shatter. He's got positional control again. Neptuno's barriers, Fusion's best shot of winning this fight, turning it with the Grav.
I'll push forward, the new man to tag in. Bubbles out from either side, and Boombox is going to be eliminated. RCK, he comes up with 2 crucial kills. Now, the Shatter in, knocks EQO to the ground. They'll deny away the pin as the Grav comes through, pulls Fusions up to the side of the wall. So that's as good as it's gonna get. Bomb drops into the back. Carpe gonna be taken down. They finish off Neptuno. No one to tag in. 100 to 23%. Boston Uprising take the first round of Ilios.
It's no surprise why the fans of Fusion have been hoping for a meta shift like the one we're living through right now, where Carpe can play Widow, where you can see EQ on the Pharah. It's because when you see them hit the mirror, Sato is the problem that you can always hone in on in terms of his Winston is better than his Rhine. They're trying to run these Winston compositions. The Rhine becomes more stable, even though they got the point first, even though Uprising had to swap heroes and attack into a defensible position. They couldn't stick with it with the Winston. They had to swap the Ana to the Zen. Sato had to swap to the Rhine. The mirror of Rhine v Rhine isn't going their way against the top teams, but the Winston matchup didn't work well against one of our bottom ones here in Stage 3. And this series may just slipped through their fingers right now. They will be able to run the far at least on Lighthouse. No mirror on this round.
Still gonna have to be careful as Color Hex gonna be looking to take him out of the sky instead RCK. Again, another crucial kill coming through as Carpe going to be eliminated. Fusion's down to about half of the Poco's mech in worse shape at the moment. Rockets coming through, Blase looking for those direct hits. Very difficult to find versus an enemy pharmacy comp. Carpe pushes up onto the point to contest here just before Fusions can get the final cap. Color Hex going to be eliminated. Sato dives into the back now, joining back over here onto the point. Color Hex rezzed back through by Kelix. Fusions joins again. Point not locked down by either side. A lot of damage going forward onto that wrecking ball. Now Kelix under fire. Leap over to the side. Sato, though, he oversteps. Thought he could finish off that Mercy, but instead he gets eliminated.
Yeah, they're just going to have to delay now. That's their best bet here. Don't think they can delay very long, but they're trying.
Yeah, hacks coming out from both of these Sombras, but both of them going to be taken down by the opposing Mara. EQO, however, hits the ground. One more rocket would have finished him off, but instead Color Hex will be able to snipe him out of the sky. 50% accrued for Fusion. The flip comes in. Boston now in control. Neptuno trying to retreat around that backside of the point.
Neptuno's got the Valkyrie now. They could absolutely turn this back, and I think they will.
They almost got the flip.
Chaos.
Fusion joins back over onto the point. Hack comes in onto the wrecking ball. Sliver of HP remaining for him, and he will get taken down as Aim God was out of the fight. Final rage used by Sato.
Yeah, unfortunate primal there. He's gonna try to hit Blase with it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he missed.
Oh, okay, he gets it. The reset.
He'll get the reset.
Good timing there.
Lucky.
No
I'm sure.
limits.
Yeah, he definitely knew it was about to reset, but Carpe's got EMP now, and in terms of the shutdown here, you know, Nano Boost onto Wrecking Ball in particular, not that great at countering the EMP. If they had a Reinhardt here or even a Winston, they have a better shot. So advantage right now to Fusion with this ultimate.
EMP comes out first, though, from RCK. Carpe only managed to find 2. RCK finding 4. Sato going to be gone. Barrage out from Blase, going to be taken down, but EQO answered for. So a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of the Boston Uprising. Color Hex back in on this Tracer. Now Neptuno going to be gone, and the res comes through onto Blase, so puts him back into the fight. RCK slumped for the moment, but no one able to capitalize, so he stands right back up and straight back into the mix.
It feels like the Fusion just can't be the initiators in these mirror fights with EMP, with Graviton Surge. We saw it on Havana. Boston Uprising is taking the initiative every single time they get those kills with the faster EMP, despite having worse positioning. Fusion are being too patient, they're being too idealistic about these fights.
Yep. Another pile driver forward, pulse bomb out, looking for the kill there on the boombox, unable to find the stick. A bit of a lob in, but doesn't want to get too close. Just dueling it out. Carpe there for the moment. Pharmacy is still up into the air. Color Hex hacks for now.
Huge hack.
A couple rockets, and Carpe will be able to finish him off with the help of EQO. Minefield comes in from Fusions to try to zone them back. Mirage unable to find any kills, and Sato taken down. Poco's playing forward here onto the card, has that bio nade to empower that healing onto him. Still having struggles getting onto the point here for the Philadelphia Fusion. Now the EMP hits from RCK, manages to find 3. Poco's taking a nap. An extra hack now on the Neptuno. The bubble from Sato barely manages to save the Mercy's life. Sato himself going to be jumping forward. The bio nade comes through. He'll be taking down on Fusions. Poco nearly out of the mech. Direct hit from EQO. Manages to find Blase, and the res has already been burned. Kelix only bringing in RCK. Carpe is going to be eliminated by Color Hex down on the ground. It's all out chaos, but Boston Uprising have been the constant. They have still been maintaining control of the point.
It's another one of those fights. Carpe, EMP's second. He's swapping over the Tracer. He can't compete with RCK anymore, not in terms of initiation.
Another bomb lopped in, but unable to find anything. No one really nearby. Primal ranges the Nano in desperation. Used onto Sato. The slip gun connects from Aim God. He manages to stay alive. Point still being capped, but now going to be contested. Fusion goes forward. Manages to find Boombox. Drop down Blase. Oh no! Uses the barrage point blank on top of Poco. And Fusions is going to get picked by the self-destruct. The flip comes in at 99%. Fusion back in control.
Philly fans sigh relief. There is a chance to bring this to a 3rd round, but they still have Carpe on the Tracer. He did very minimal damage. He rushed back to the point to help contest, but they're going to have the same EMP problem they've been facing all round long to contest with here as soon as RCK gets that last 30%, and nothing in the world can stop that from happening.
Hack now onto Poco. They want to get him out of the mech. Unable to do so. Can't quite get the damage in. Sato going in deep into the back, and RCK.
That's a huge
down
take.
Carpe. coming up clutch.
That's what
for
could stop
his
it from
team.
happening.
91% to 99 now. Kellick's going to be eliminated. Boombox taken out as well.
They need that EMP. They need it.
Neptuno's going to be gone. There's no supports now for the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, and Poco and Sato are both down below half. Fusion's zipping his way in.
Huge
Color Hex gets dumped by EQO. Instantly takes him down. Boston on the point, trying to get the cap. Barrage coming through. EQO manages to find two. Blasi comes in from behind, takes him down, but now Fusion's is out of the fight. Carpe dumps a pulse bomb. It's right into the front, and RCK, he stands directly on top of it. And we've got one more round of Ilios to decide it all. Look at
EQO's face. I mean, he deserves to be praised. He deserves to be happy. He came up with so many critical eliminations, including that direct rocket hit onto Blase. Blows up Color Hex there at the end. He is not messing around. If you give him the opportunity to play the Pharah, he is going to do just great at it. And
yeah.
I mean, so many of those eliminations he got really shut down the Uprising's opportunities to fight around EMP, to get the EMP online. This is where it could get scary. We could see more of a mirror here on Well. Uprising will start with the Widow Pharah. Looks like they want to commit in. They have to scout, of course, what Fusion are doing before they can react. Fusion is willing to go into the Winston Zarya Goats composition here, which has been, you know, honestly, it's been hit or miss throughout this season for them. Playing around Sato's strengths, but going against the grind of the meta.
Lane swaps again coming through from the Boston Uprising in reaction to what the Philadelphia Fusion are bringing forward. So Color Hex swapping back over onto that Zarya.
This is a good map for Winston compared to the others.
Cap comes in. Fusion in control, but I mean, from what we've seen so far in Ilios, it's not going to last very long. It's been some very fast flips back and forth over and over again. Blase playing up. Get that healing rolling. Passive coming through. Cap getting ready to come in. Fusion tagged back over onto the point. Fusion's playing forward, trying to build up for that primal range. He's just a little bit further behind Sato here at the moment. Carpe currently sitting at about 100 energy.
Great tags onto the point from Fusion. They're delaying this so perfectly. Just tagging only when the contest comes through.
Yep, 33% right now, nearly taking down the front line. Carpe just lobbing in those right clicks. Poco, however, going to be the first one to fall, loses the mech, but RCK immediately traded out. And Poco, both in the pilot form, comes up clutch by taking down his enemy Diva. Fusion's jumping forward. An Orb of Harmony from Aim God, not going to be enough. EQ will get sent into the pit, but Fusion still maintain control, now above 50%.
And they're
on
winning.
The board.
They're winning the mirror. You know, the toughest thing for them so far in this series to do, and they're crushing it right now. Carpe's grab versus Aim God's trance. That's really going to be the big thing in this next fight. They're waiting till the last second to fight it.
One thing that they're down at the moment is going to be the rally. Boston, get ready to have that one. Color Hex, oh no, he gets his grab taken away. Poco says nay, gets that D-Matrix up, and now they finish off the Zarya in response. Sato pops the Primal Rage, jumping into the back, looking for somebody to knock into that well. Kellex manages to find EQO again, but this time Neptuno also finds Blase, so a trade on the Brigidas comes through. Neptuno going to get picked by that self-destruct. RCK trying to put them back into the fight, but Aim God going to be taken down. Kellex under fire, down to about half HP. It's 90% of the board for the Philadelphia Fusion. Poco using the self-destruct. Tosses it right up by the entrance, makes his way back into the mech, and RCK has been eliminated again, 99%. They managed to tag in, Fusion's his back, but does not have a primal range. Rally rolling, grab comes through from Carpe, and he's still high energy on the Zarya. Gets straight in behind the break shield, they take him down, and OT starts dwindling away, and that should be it. No one can tag in. Boston Uprising, they get so darn close to taking him down. But Philadelphia Fusion, they come up clutch again in map 5.
That was a game-winning and potentially a series-winning absorbed by Poco on the Graviton Surge. The only tool the Uprising had. You can see Color Hex not so happy with how the result goes in the end. His grab was eaten, and that's one of those moments that's going to define your inability to team fight, is losing the only ultimate that you can really operate around. EQO play the game of his life there on the end, bringing it back on the far in dire situations for them, especially on Lighthouse, and they end up getting to win the map with the comp they've struggled with so much, the Winston Goats, the Winston Winston Zarya. It's been a tough road for the Fusion. This is not the map score they were looking for. They were not looking to pick up a single point here. They wanted the 4-0, but they're going to have to settle.
Yeah, precisely, get that victory, but not as clean as they would have liked. But guys, we've got Mika standing by on the floor, so let's go ahead and throw down for an interview.
Thanks, guys. We got EQO down here. Congratulations on your win today. And this officially starts your 3-match win streak, which is quite an uptick for you guys. So now that you're climbing the stage ranks and the overall season ranking, do you think that playing more DPS recently has been your key to success?
Yeah, I think so. Recently, we have been playing teams that are pretty good against DPS, but we know Boston plays a lot of GOATs counters, and so we thought that playing DPS against them would be more effective, and so we put a lot of practice into the match today.
And as we've seen, practice makes perfect, so congratulations. And this season is kind of feeling reminiscent of last season. You know, you guys are climbing the ranks, and it seems like history is almost repeating itself. So do you think that we're going to be seeing Philadelphia Fusion beating the top dogs and back in the stage playoffs, or in the season playoffs?
I think we're kind of in a riser, like we're rising up right now, and I think we have a big shot. Hopefully we can finish the stage 5-2 and get a shot at the stage playoffs first, and then later on the season playoffs, I think we can do pretty good. Who knows what the meta is going to be soon.
That is true. The meta is always changing. Well, thank you, EQO. I know your fans are proud of you. Give them another round of applause, everybody. Oh, you have a sign right there with your name on it. I love it. That's all we have down here. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mika. Good to hear from EQO playing a phenomenal match here today. But taking a look at the Stage 3 standings, Fusion still in it currently in that 10th place spot. Still have 2 more series to be played so far this stage.
Yeah, with a -3 at 3-2, you pretty much got to win both of them. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any world where you get playoffs with 4-3, so that's what EQO is referring to. Both of their next matches will be at the homestand. The first one, pretty reasonable to expect they'll take it against Justice. We can call that an expected win, but against the Dragons. I mean, not only is that going to be a tough one, but it's going to be a great one to watch. You know, DM versus Carpe, that is actually going to happen. Widow versus Widow. You have to expect.
Yeah, I mean, should be an entertaining series no matter what happens in it. Of course, we will be seeing a little bit more of the Dragons later on today for a final set of the day. But let's go ahead and figure out who our player of the match is, presented by Owned by HP. We just heard from him. Of course, it's going to be EQO.
I mean, an absolutely phenomenal performance on the Pharah all series long. You know, his Brigida was as good as it normally is, but his Pharah play in particular, when Carpe gave him the space to utilize it on the Widow, he just doesn't miss the shots. He also got to play a pretty great Hanzo. Had some struggles, of course, on Horizon Lunar Colony. Well, that wasn't really any fault of his. It was the comp that they were running. But EQO looking very, very clean when he does get to play the heroes he's made famous for through the first season of Overwatch League.
And same for Carpe as well. Widow was absolutely clean in the beginning there on Nepal and throughout. But Philadelphia Fusion, they get that victory. But guys, we're still not done. We got 2 more series here today. Coming up next, it's going to be the Florida Mayhem going up against the Hangzhou Sparks. So stay tuned, because that's coming at you in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Sup, dude? Remember when we used to carpool to LAN parties?
Dude, we've come so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some Overwatch.